So here's a really good question I think we should talk about because it's on everybody's mind. Net neutrality,
Oh.
right?
Yeah.
So there are some cities. Yeah. There are some cities that are proposing things like socialized internet, bringing it on board. There's a movement here in Seattle about it. What are the feelings from the candidates as a group on net neutrality, and what are your feelings on socialized internet as a whole?
Okay. Well, I'll take that as a democratic socialist. So it's weird. We keep going back to how things are tied together. This actually ties into almost everything she just talked about. So the fundamental truths are, if you meet everybody's basic needs, which nowadays includes the internet as a public service, it includes phone. TV's debatable. Most people don't watch TV anymore. So if you can meet everybody's basic needs, you're going to find criminals or crime is going to go down. You know, you're going to have reduced costs. If you end prohibition, which goes into that sex working thing, that's going to also feed into that. And socialized internet is great because it's going to bring down costs and it's going to increase speed and availability. There's still a lot of people, believe it or not, who cannot afford to have internet right now. And it's basically handicapping those who need the most help. So students in school are struggling to do their homework because they can't afford access to internet. Well, not them, but their folks cannot afford access to the internet. And if you socialize it, it becomes a public utility that everybody can gain access to in a region, and everybody gets equality of access to educational resources. And America, even though we invented the internet technically, we have the slowest internet in the industrialized world. I think South Korea is, and I could be wrong on this test, but I think it's 5 times or more faster than what we are today for their slower internet.
Really?
Yes, they do. All the Eastern European countries that we make fun of in our movies have much better internet than we do. They laugh at our internet. It is pathetic how slow our internet is. And if you socialize the internet and you put the infrastructure as a priority for our community to develop, you can then build it so everybody can do it, not the priorities of the money-making industries of the telecom companies. And on top of that, the telecom companies have formed monopolies. It seems like there's more than one, but how many people have access to more than one in their area? And that's not an accident. That's by design. They decided a while ago when they got the exemption from monopolies in, I believe it was in the 90s or late 80s, from our government. They got an exemption about monopolies. They decided they weren't going to compete together. And now they've just started merging together and becoming bigger and bigger. And right now there's a merger that we've got to try and stop. It's AT&T and Time Warner.
Yeah.
And these kinds of things are just going to make it harder for people to get what they need. There's even reports about the shady activities that they do for retention services for departments at Time Warner, where some of the employees are talking about how they will do anything to get people to stay. They'll promise them reduced rates, and those reduced rates can easily be vetoed. So you can get a higher speed and faster rate if you stay with us, and it'll be 3 months. And they'll either get vetoed or there'll be a thing in there that then you will have to automatically start paying 3 times what you originally were promised.
So I'm going to ask, tell me about, I'm an old guy.
Okay.
So you just mentioned this, my son goes to Bellarmine.
Okay.
He has an iPad. I told him, get your butt, go to get your butt, go to the library.
Okay.
Who does that? So, and you were saying these kids have a hard time on the internet for studies. Why can't they use a library? I mean, is that like, I'm not understanding because I'm old. I don't understand that.
Libraries are being shut down all over the counties.
Yeah, not everybody can get to a library.
Yeah, access, and then the reduction of time. I mean, when the duration for which they're open is reduced, and then physical libraries are being shut down in different areas,
really?
Often in socioeconomically depressed areas. So it's again, there's just not as many libraries. Their hours are reduced. And
so we can buy the building to turn them into homeless people?
Yes, we can buy them.
On top of that, not every Washington is a little more progressive than most states. We got to keep in mind.
Oh wow!
So we have access for internet use for our citizens. but not everybody does, and not even everywhere in Washington has Wi-Fi access. So you have
True.
to sometimes use
True.
machines that are there, and good luck getting one of those. Those are always full every time I go.
So Washington is very progressive.
Compared to a lot
Is
of
that because of Republicans?
That's because of our very hard fighting Democrat groups. We push really hard, we push for progressive agendas, and we finally took back the
I
state
didn't say
senate.
that the government was progressive. I said Washington.
Yeah.
That's a much better way of putting it. Washington is very progressive. It might not be reflected in our state government though.
Which is why we need better representation.
I just want to jump off what you're saying about net neutrality. There seem to be two real definitions on that with people. And the first is people's notion about what net neutrality is. And pretty much it's, if you're on the internet, your speed will not be throttled based on what you're trying to do with it. So if you're looking at pictures of cats, it's going to be treated the same as somebody who's looking up for a research paper.
Isn't that
The
like
same
against the
as
law?
somebody who's
Like-
trying to call anybody else.
And it's
And if
the
you-
law now, they're trying to make it so that's no longer a law.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and then
Mhm.
and on top of that, it's also these companies can slow the internet down on their competition, and that's not just their internet competition; that's their media competition.
And that's what I was just going
Yeah.
into was it's not so much a problem if you as an individual say, well, I can pay a little bit lower, get lesser service, whatever. But if somebody who's paying for higher service is watching Netflix and Netflix didn't pay their dues to Comcast, say, as an internet service provider, Comcast can slow down Netflix's.
Even places like Click that's locally owned.
You know, make it slower for every individual.
Shut
See how long it's locally owned.
Yeah.
They can't do that. It's locally owned.
Yay. Good
Again,
job, Tacoma.
And then the second part is how net neutrality actually affects you as legislation. And as that was implemented under the Obama administration, the internet was regulated as a Title II public utility. That's one of the major parts.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
And essentially what that meant was that they would not be able to allow certain people to be prioritized over others. And if they remove that, as Ajit Pai, the FCC chairman,
Freedom of
wants
speech.
to do,
Yeah.
then they would be able to remove that ability that prohibits all of these internet service providers from being able to prioritize traffic, regardless of who it is.
Net neutrality, I agree with everything everybody said, but there's one other detail. Even if your local community does a mesh network, does a local free internet, they still have to connect to the backbone somewhere. If you want to talk to a grassroots group in Cincinnati, Ohio from Washington State, that's going over the backbone. The backbone can be throttled as well. And the worst part about this is when people talk about being monitored, you delete cookies off your computer, you watch everything else. In order to throttle what you do on their services, if Comcast wants their video service to trump Netflix so they slow Netflix down, that means Comcast has to monitor 100% of what you're doing. That means just as a knock-on effect of being able to throttle your internet, they will be monitoring everything you do. Every click you make, every adult site you look at, out of curiosity or not, they will know about. And there's no law that's going to prevent them from spreading that information around or using that information in any way they want, for selling ads, for controlling ads, for sending you a nasty email saying, if you don't re-up your service, maybe we make public the statistics for how long you spend on the Democratic Socialist website or anything else. I had a couple more. I should have taken notes. You've all been speaking brilliantly. The issues kind of rambled on, but I liked how they connected next to next to next. The concept that it's all one house, you can't just fix one room. The thing that people don't get is the house is on fire. And the house has been on fire for so long that instead of doing something about it, voters are just getting used to the smoke.